So my story begins with an ending. The end of my professional cricket career. As I was sitting in the surgeon's office with multiple fractures in one of my vertebrae, I was told that I'd never play the sport again. And I was faced with not knowing what I was going to do in the future, no idea of what I was going to get up to. My dream had been taken away from me. But I was reminded with one thing, that I wasn't meant to have that career in the first place. And to understand that, we have to go all the way back to the beginning, to literally the day I was born. Because I was born with a rare condition called Poland syndrome. The doctor that delivered me took one look at me, and it's really fortunate because I didn't meet another doctor for 22 years who knew what my condition was. This doctor took one look at me and went, to my parents, your son's got Poland syndrome. And they didn't know what it was. The reason being it's quite uncommon. 1 in 100,000 people get it. There's no known cause as to why people get it, and it manifests itself slightly differently for people that get it. Some people, it affects their hands and their fingers are deformed. Some people have arm discrepancies. I'm totally fine there. But for me, it means that I'm missing my right pectoral muscle and 2 ribs that are directly behind it. So that means that if I was to be struck up here, the only thing that's protecting my lung is just skin. Now, if anyone has seen a cricket ball, has seen a professional cricket match, the ball moves very fast, very fast. And if I was to be hit with that ball, it would kill me. Now, it has other complications that go along with it. Because there's a big muscle missing, my shoulder is being asked to do a job that it's not meant to be doing. So I've got a couple of muscles here in my right shoulder that are twice the size than the ones on my left. That doesn't mean I'm like Popeye or Superman. It just means that I have a few more challenges. It means that those muscles get tighter, sorer, they fatigue, and they hurt twice as much. So I had to manage that as I was growing up. When I turned pro, I actually had a Kevlar chest guard made, one that was bulletproof, so that it stopped me from being struck by a cricket ball and actually doing that. But I'll get onto that in a bit. Now, my upbringing, after my parents had been told this message that, look, your son is not going to be playing sport. He's not going to play a sport like rugby. He's not going to play a sport like cricket. And my dad was a super avid sports fan. I was the firstborn son. It was the first question he asked the doctor, can he play any sport? No. But luckily, I have a younger brother, Brad. He's 14 months younger than me. He turned up. Now, growing up as 2 young lads, I'm sure if anyone's got a sibling in the room, older brother, sister, younger brother or sister, whatever it is, I just wanted to do one thing with Brad. That was just thrash him at everything. Every opportunity. If I was running to a lamppost, I wanted to be first. If I was jumping, I wanted to jump higher. If he had the remote control, I was beating him up so I could have it, and it was mine. Everything was a competition with me and Brad as we grew up. But then one day, my granddad gives me a tennis ball, my brother a cricket bat, and he introduces the game of cricket to us in the garden. Some of you might play sports in the garden with your siblings or parents as well. And I fell in love with this game. I just fell in love with the idea of being a bowler. My dad, I'm a local lad, born in Sussex. My dad would take me to Sussex games and we'd buy tickets, sit in the crowd. And I looked at these bowlers and I thought, that's the thing I want to do. That's what I want to be. And eventually I got to around about the age of 13, 14, and I slammed my hands onto the table one night and I told my parents, that's it. I want to be a professional cricketer. They're like, all right, Lewis, how are you going to do that? I was like, well, there's a trial coming up. There's a trial coming up for the junior squads. I want to turn up to that trial and I want to see if I can get in. So they get me into that trial. I turn up, 100 kids turn up to this trial, and only 15 were going to be selected. Now, I went to a state school. We didn't even have cricket. It wasn't even an option at the time. So I couldn't play cricket at school, and I turned up, and there's kids from private schools. They've got the best kit. They're massive. They're taller than me. They're stronger than me. They're faster. They're bowling quicker than me. I'm sitting there going, I'm in the bottom 15. I'm trying to get in the top 15. How the hell am I going to get a chance here? So over the weeks of this trial, we turn up and we train, and I'm getting battered by the big, strong, ugly fellas that are bigger and better than me. And I thought, the only way I can stand out here is I'm not going to be able to show that I'm good enough with skill, with ability, with size, strength. I don't have any of that. Maybe I can show them one thing that I might be able to show them, which is my mindset, my ability to want to get better, my attitude. So I decided throughout those weeks that I was just going to be a pest. Every opportunity I got to go and see a coach, I'd grab on their shirt and say, excuse me, how's he doing this? Can I get better at that? Can you just come and have a look at what I'm doing? Can you show me how to get better? And I constantly nagged them to see if they could help me improve and show that I was willing to get better. Now we get to the end of this trial, the day they got the clipboard, the coach is standing there and they're reeling off the names. It's probably a nice email, text message that they get to send now, but then it was just standing there with a clipboard. You hear your name, come up, grab your shirt, come get your kit, ready to go. And I hear the names 1, 2, 3, 4, get down to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Lewis Hatchett. I jumped up, ran over, grabbed my shirt, grabbed my cap. I was like, oh my God, I'm in the squad. I'm done. I've done it. I've achieved it. Have my photo taken. Oh, this is awesome. I've achieved my first goal. Great. Go home. The season starts. And now every time there was a game turning up later on that year in the season, a team sheet would turn up in the post. And every time that team sheet was dropped through the letterbox, I could see the Sussex emblem stamped on it. I'd run to the door, rip it open, be like, Mum, Dad, team sheet's here. Now, if you don't know cricket, 11 guys take the field, they play, 4 sit on the bench. And I'd rip open this sheet and go, I'm on the bench. I'm number 15. All right, next week, team sheet would come in the post, rip it open. I'm number 13. I just wasn't getting picked. Coaches didn't think I was any good. This happened week after week. My dad could see that this was getting to me. He also knew that at the end of the year, if I didn't play, show them that I had some form of ability, that I was going to get better, they're just going to bin me off. I was going to be done. And so Dad said, right, you're going to have to do something to stand out. You're going to have to stand out and do something here. So he came to me with a phone and a number, and he goes, I've got the number for a coach here, one of your coaches. Call him. But this coach is the head coach of the men's pro squad. I want you to call him up and see if you can go and train with them tomorrow. Now, this is like, in football terms, calling up Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool and saying, can I come and have a kick about you guys tomorrow? He wanted me to turn up to a pro training session and just be like, look, I want to be here. So I grabbed this phone. He's like, don't come out of that room until you got an answer. I wrote a script. I wrote exactly what I was going to say. I got the number. I'm dialing it. I'm sweating. Heart rate's through the roof. I'm deleting the number. Let it ring once, put it down, it's too busy. I just had all the excuses, but eventually I was like, damn it, I'm gonna have to do this. Typed in the number, let it run. Oh, this went on for ages. I thought it was like a month going by hearing that phone ringing. Eventually, someone picks up the phone. Hello, Mr. Robinson. My name's Lewis Hatchett. I wondered if you need a spare hand tomorrow, if I could come and just train with you guys. Hi, Lewis. No, we're all good. Cheers, thanks, bye. Awesome. Come out the door. How'd it go, Lou? He said, no, Dad. Try again tomorrow. All right. So he comes to me with the phone, sweat start again, heart rate through. I write a new script. Say, hey, howdy, how are you going? What are we saying here? I tried everything. So I ring him up. Hello, Mr. Robinson, it's me, Lewis Hatchett. Can I come train with you tomorrow? No, we're all good, Lewis. Cheers, bye. Try again tomorrow, Lou. He would come to me with this phone and this number. He'd try someone else's number. I would ring up for weeks trying to get an opportunity. Eventually, one day, I'm like, this is the last damn time I'm ringing this number. Hello, Mr. Robinson, it's me again. Wonder if I could come and train with you guys. Do you know what, Lewis? We've actually got a couple of guys that are injured and sick. Can you be in at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? Yes, I can. Phone down, I get my stuff ready. The next morning, I'm sitting in the changing room with guys who I was trying to get autographs off only a few days before, standing there through sheer fear, like, do not mess up, don't touch anything, don't do anything. Only speak when spoken to. And my goal, being there, I had no right being there. I was not good enough. I didn't have the skill, I didn't have the ability. There was no way I was going to be better than any of these guys. But I just wanted to see how the best were doing what they were doing. I wanted to learn from them, take notes, mental notes. I would then go home and do all the work on my own. When I got back from school, I'd look at everything I need to work on, and I just continuously work on it. Problem for them was once they let me in once, I just kept turning up. I had my foot in the door, and I'd just be there, go, right, guys, need any help today? I'm ready to go. And so they were like, damn, okay, this guy's not going away. And I kept doing that for quite a while, but I was only about 15, 16, and one day I was bowling a ball in the nets, and I bowled this ball, and bang, I couldn't move. It was the first time I had to stop doing any physical activity. I had to be sort of taken to the physio. They sent me to the doctors, found out that I'd fractured my spine, and I had to get put in a corset for 6 months, and I had to rehab for another 6 months. I then had to get better for another year after that, and I spent 2 years out of the sport through this one injury. During that time, it's a quite pivotal moment, 16 to 18. All the guys that I was trying to get above, they were going off and getting some contracts. They were doing well. They were achieving what they wanted to achieve. And I was stuck there in this damn corset, not being able to do anything. And I decided then that was the first time my body had let me down. And I could deal with not being told that my skill wasn't good enough because I felt I could get better at the skill. I felt that's something I could work on. But I never wanted a coach to turn to me and say, Lewis, because of your condition, because of everything that's going on with you there, we're just not going to pick you. So during that 2 years, I snuck into the facilities, I snuck into the gym. I found out who the fittest player in that team was physically, wrote down all of his training, and I went away and did that in my own time. When I got back from school, I'd be running the streets around town. I'd be running around Hove, I'd be running around Stenning, I'd be running around everywhere, making sure I was getting myself fitter, stronger. So that when I got back, stood in front of them at 18 years old, I was like, look, I'm fitter, stronger, ready to go. And they're like, Lewis, cricket season's finished, mate. We've got another 6 months till we start. So, well, what do? I need an opportunity. I want this opportunity. I want to do this. And I got presented with this opportunity to fly all the way out to Australia, which was an amazing opportunity. Someone had been kind enough to take me on for an academy. But I knew that when I come back, it was going to be do or die moment. So before I left to fly 10,000 miles away over the other side of the world, I sat down with that coach who I've been ringing up and I said, I want you to give me a list of things that I need to do in order to become a professional cricketer. And he was like, I hope you've got a lot of pen in your ink and a lot of paper. You're going to need a lot of notes here, buddy. So I wrote all of these things down, everything I needed to achieve, flew 10,000 miles away. Now, it's 2008. Facebook was invented 2007. There was no Instagramming. There was no Snapchatting. There was literally a phone call or an email just to tell my mum and dad that I hadn't died. And I had to hope that the work I was putting in all the way over in Australia, when I got back, it mattered. And I get back, I'm fitter, stronger. I had known I'd ticked everything off that list. I was in the best shape, best skill that I'd been that time. I get back, I stand in front of those coaches, and I'm like, look, you can see I'm better. And they go, yeah. We got 5 or 6 guys here that we think are better. Just sit down on the bench, be drinks, be water boy. We'll call you if we need you. I was like, that's not what I want. I want to be, all I wanted, my goal at that time was to be the #1 opening bowler for the reserve team. That's all I wanted. So I made a bet with them. I got a meeting with them, and I sat down with 3 of the head coaches, and I said, I want to make you a wager. And the wager is that in the next 3 games that are coming up, I want to be the opening bowler. And if I do well, just let me carry on doing that. But if I don't do well, I'll ride off in the sunset. You'll never see me again. They're like, yes, take that bet, bang on. So they're like, they take the bet. I'm opening the bowling for the next 3 games. Fortunately, I took 21 wickets in 3 games, broke a couple of records, and they're like, got to keep him on doing this role. What the hell? So I carry on doing that role for a little bit. A few weeks go by. That coach that I've been ringing up, who's the head coach, comes up to me and goes, Lewis, you're actually playing so well now, buddy. We need you to jump on the bus with the pro squad and be the drinks guy for there, be on the bench in that team. I'm like, oh, back on the bench, but this is a good bench to be on. Side note, I was still working in a smoked salmon factory, just putting petrol in my car just to pay that. So I had to pack that in, jumped on the bus, packed my bags, and I'm traveling around the country with some of the best players in the country at the game. It was awesome. I was getting the best seats in the house at any game. I'm on the sidelines. I'm sort of half sneaking autographs off some people that I kind of knew, and it was amazing. And all my role was just to sort of like carry drinks out and help around. But then we get to this one game in London. And I was so excited for it, just to be sitting on the sidelines, because out of the 22 players that were going to be playing in that game, 15 of them played international cricket. And I was like, oh my God, the England captain's going to be there. I'm going to be able to get some autographs from my mates, might get a signed shirt here and there. Geez, I'm going to set my chair up there. I'm going to be perfectly positioned for this game. It's going to be awesome. And as we're prepping for the first day of this game, we're about half an hour before the game's about to start. Coach comes running up to me and he goes, Lewis, Yas, who was one of our international bowlers, he's just done his ankle in the warm-up. You're going to need to play. Here's your cap, here's your shirt, go get ready. You've got half an hour. First person you're bowling to, by the way, is the England captain. Good luck. Oh, wow. Next thing I know, I'm standing at the top of my run-up. I've got the England captain in front of me. My heart is pounding. My parents are screaming up the M25 trying to get to the game in time. I almost forgot how to bowl. I almost forgot what I was doing. But in that moment, I took a breath. I heard a bunch of people behind me screaming, who the hell's this guy? I looked behind, there were my own fans from Sussex. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. Took that breath, played the game. And it's 4 days. 4 days that game lasts, and it was incredible. It was an amazing game, still one of my favourite games to this day. I did all right, I performed well. We get back on the bus and we go up the road to the Midlands, to Leicester, and we play the next game. And this one changed my life. I thought I was going to be swapped out. The guy who was injured was fit again, and I was going to be swapped back in. I was going to get out, and he was going to come back in. That was it, straight swap. But it wasn't. They dropped someone else. And in that first innings of that game, I took 5 wickets, which is football terms like scoring a hat-trick, I guess. And I remember it so vividly. I was walking off the field. I'm sort of getting clapped off, celebrating my team. They're patting me on the back. Get into the changing room, shower, change, leaving to go back to the hotel. And I'm getting back into this green car. And I'm holding onto the handle, and I feel this hand on my shoulder. And it was the coach that I'd called up that said I wasn't good enough, that we were going to go with these guys over there. And he turned me around and he said, Lewis, we're going to offer you a 3-year contract as a professional cricketer. You've done it. And at the time, I was trying to be a bit macho. I was like, yeah, cheers. Yeah, good on me. I've done it. I get in the car. I was with my physio and analyst at the time who had seen me ever since I was a kid. And I was like, they go, Lewis, that's amazing. Like, well done. Congratulations. Like, this is so cool. And I'm going, yeah, it's all right. It's cool. No problem. And they go, no, you don't really realise what you've done. And it was the first time it hit me, because these guys had seen me since I was about 12 years old and seen me through the times I was injured and struggling. And they said, Lewis, everyone that was going for your spot that you've currently got, everyone that was trying to get there, they're not here. You've completely leapfrogged over them. You've hurdled them at the last minute. Like, that's how much it means, and that's the story you've got. And that hit me. That gave me a huge sense of pride of what I'd done just to get to that place. But professional sport is not like that. Professional sport cares for no man or woman when they're playing it. And it was 6 years that I played at Sussex, and it's incredible. Like, playing the thing that you love, I can't describe it. Got to travel around the world, got to see so many people, got to play on TV, be at some amazing stadiums. And it was all going so well. I was getting better, my skills were improving. I was really looking forward to the next chapter of my career until the 7th of July, 2016, where I was bowling in a warm-up game about to play Pakistan as they were coming over to tour, and we were going to play them. It was going to be live on TV. It was really exciting. And I bowled this ball in a warm-up game, and bang, I couldn't move. I had to be carried off the field. I had to go straight to have an MRI that night, and then the next morning I get a phone call from my physio, who I'd known for a long time, and I could just tell from his voice that something bad had happened. He goes, Lewis, you've refractured your spine in a place that shouldn't be fracturing. It should be stronger than it's ever been before. We've got to go see the doctor, the surgeon, straight away. So there I am, standing in front of this surgeon a few weeks later, and he's saying, look, this part of your vertebrae should not be fracturing like this, and it's not a case of if, it's a case of when it will happen again. And every time you do it, it's going to be 12 months off. So this won't fix, this won't heal over and over again. We recommend you retire. And that was it. I had to leave the sport at the age of 26, and I was done. Pulled away. That is a really challenging place to be in, and any person that finishes their professional career in any capacity, I empathise with them so much because their story is unique, and what it means to them is unique as well. And for me, it meant that I was sort of thrust into this, well, what am I going to do next? And I'd realised one thing, that I had valued myself, everything that I was, on what I was doing. If you'd asked me what I was up to, what I was going to be doing, I'd said, I'm playing cricket, I'm doing this. So I identified myself as, I'm a cricketer. That's my value. That's where I'm at. And that got taken away. And then some of the hardest questions of who the hell are you, or what are you up to now, were really challenging. And I spent the next few years really diving into that. But also, doing that for myself, and then telling the story that I've just told you, I had athletes come to me when I started putting stuff out on social media around mindset, around the challenges that I'd faced with my story. And the questions turned from, how do I bowl fast and get better in cricket, to how do I build my confidence? How do I overcome this setback that I've got? How do I stop fearing failure? And there were questions all around mindset that led me to now be so curious and go into my Masters of Performance Psychology and helping out athletes and businesses and students on trying to develop their mindset and trying to make your mindset one of your strongest skills that you have. Because we've all got one. It's not going anywhere. You don't need anything for it. It's always with you. But if there's anything that I can kind of leave you with, and it was a message that really is resonating with the world that we're in right now, and to everyone in the room, but kids especially, that are students here, or maybe even students past, it's hard right now. The conversation around mental health is tough, and there has never been so much distraction in the world, or confusion, and so many things that we can't control, which increases our anxiety to the world. That just leaves us confused as to what's next for us. What am I going to be? What value do I bring? And you might be thinking a question, well, what do I want to be in the future? What is it that I want to achieve? I don't know what my goal is. I don't know what I'm going to be. If you don't have that answer, that's okay. If you do have that answer, I still pose this to you. Asking what you want to do might be the wrong question we're asking. Ask yourself, who do you want to be? That is going to follow you around wherever you go. Your character, what it is about you, the way you see the world, the way you show up in the world, the value you bring for who you genuinely are. So if you aren't sure of what it is that you want to do, think about, what is the person that I want to be? Who do I want to be in the future? Describe them as if you're standing in front of you. Write it down. Think of who that person looks like. And then you start to give yourself a guide. If I want to be more empathetic, I'm going to be more empathetic. If I want to be kinder, I'm going to be kinder. If I want to be harder working, I want to be harder working. So those are the guides. That's the path that I want to go on. And the first step that you make may not be glorious. It may not be easy. Make it a small one. Just make it a small one. And so the way I see it, our mental health ends up being an outcome, a consequence, a state that we end up being in. But our mental strength that we have is a choice and is in our control. And the things that are in our control are where we place our energy, our attention, our focus, what we think of ourselves, and what we expect of ourselves. Thank you very much for your time tonight.